unearthed streets, echoing gunshots, and tales of vendettas. Welcome to Tombstone, Arizona, the town too tough to die. Today, we're diving deep into the shadowy alleys and unearthing the darkest secrets of this legendary town. From infamous gunfights to haunted saloons, Tombstone's legacy is far more chilling than any ghost story you've ever heard. But before we pull back the curtain on the Old West's most notorious town, make sure you're prepared for a journey through time, where the line between legend and reality blurs. Prepare yourself as we embark on a gripping exploration of the grim and gritty history of Tombstone, Arizona. In the late 1800s, the vast expanse of the Arizona desert was mostly uncharted, with tales of wild natives and treacherous terrain, often dissuading explorers. But in 1877, a determined prospector named Ed Schieffelin dared to defy the warnings. As he traversed the hostile landscape of southeast Arizona territory,
Tombstone, Arizona territory.
Local soldiers often scoffed at his silver-seeking ambitions. They would jest, "The only stone you'll find out there will be your tombstone." But Ed, with his unwavering spirit, journeyed on. One fateful day, amidst the rocky outcrops and sun-baked soil, Ed stumbled upon a gleaming silver vein, proving his doubters wrong. This precious find was soon christened the Tombstone, a wry and triumphant response to those who had cautioned him. News of Schiefelin's discovery spread like wildfire. Miners, fortune-seekers, and opportunists from all over began flocking to the site. As makeshift homes, tents, and wooden establishments sprang up, a bustling town emerged from the once desolate desert. It was a boom town in every sense, with its population soaring into the thousands within just a few years. However, as Tombstone grew, so did its appetite for vice and violence. The influx of wealth brought in an unsavory element. The town's dusty streets saw the rise of saloons, gambling joints, and brothels, often manned and frequented by some of the most notorious figures of the Old West. With little law enforcement and an increasing population of rowdy miners and gunslingers, disputes were often settled with gunfights rather than words. This initial period of Tombstone's existence laid the foundation for its tumultuous future. It wasn't just a place of fortune and dreams, it quickly became a hotbed of crime, passion, and wild western tales. The town, which started as a defiant response to naysayers, would grow to epitomize the perilous, unpredictable, and legendary era of the Wild West. As Tombstone streets began to buzz with the hopeful energy of newcomers, the town rapidly transformed from a simple mining camp to the heartbeat of the Arizona desert. The lure of silver was undeniable, and by the early 1880s, Tombstone was producing millions in silver bullion. This rapid influx of wealth didn't just turn a few lucky prospectors into overnight millionaires, it also transformed the town into a hub of commerce, culture, and unfortunately, crime. The town boasted some of the most advanced amenities of its time, with its own opera house, a bowling alley, newspapers, and more than 100 saloons. Tombstone was not just a dreary mining town, it became a place where Eastern sophistication met Western ruggedness. As money poured in, businessmen, lawyers, and even international investors made their way to this blooming desert oasis, eager to stake a claim in its prosperity. Word of the City of Roses, as it was occasionally referred to due to its thriving red light district, reached far and wide. Entertainers and theater troupes often included Tombstone in their travel itineraries, bringing with them a touch of glamour and cosmopolitan flair. Yet, for all its opulence and growing sophistication, Tombstone was never far removed from its wild, lawless roots. As the town's prominence grew, so did its list of infamous residents. The EARP brothers, Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan, alongside the deadly marksman Doc Holliday, became household names, not just for their roles as lawmen, but for their involvement in the most legendary gunfight of the Old West, the shootout at the OK Corral. Clashes between outlaw factions and lawmen were a common sight. The tensions between the cowboys, a notorious group of outlaws, and figures like the EARP brothers created an environment where violence was always just around the corner. Dueling ideologies, territorial disputes, and personal vendettas played out in broad daylight, and Tombstone streets bore witness to these deadly dances more times than the residents would have liked. Tombstone's rapid rise to prominence was a paradox. On one hand, it stood as a beacon of progress and prosperity in the harsh desert landscape. On the other, it remained an emblem of the unpredictable and dangerous life in the Wild West, where law and disorder danced in a delicate balance, and fortunes could be made or lost with the pull of a trigger. The narrative of Tombstone cannot be separated from the dramatic events and tensions that defined its legacy. From vicious feuds to roaring fires, here's a deep dive into the pivotal moments that made the town so notorious. The gunfight at the OK Corral, 1881. No account of Tombstone's history would be complete without mentioning this gunfight, which remains one of the most famous shootouts in the annals of the Old West. It was a mere 30 seconds of intense gunfire, but its repercussions were monumental. Wyatt Earp, his brothers, and their ally Doc Holliday confronted a gang of outlaws known as the Cowboys, led by Ike Clanton. When the smoke cleared, 3 of the Cowboys lay dead, solidifying the Earps and Holliday's places in Wild West folklore. However, this event also sowed the seeds for further conflict, with retaliatory attacks and a cycle of violence ensuing in its aftermath. The BISBEE Massacre, 1883. Just a short ride from Tombstone, this horrifying event involved a gang robbing a general store in the nearby town of BISBEE. They didn't just take money, they killed 4 people, including a pregnant woman. The event shocked the entire region, leading to a massive manhunt. Many of the culprits were captured and subsequently hanged in Tombstone, furthering its reputation as a place where justice and vengeance was swiftly meted out. Tombstone's Infernos, 1881 to 1882. Tombstone was not just plagued by bullets, but by fire as well. In a span of just 1 year, 2 major fires ravaged the town, decimating businesses and homes. The resilience of the residents was tested, but they rebuilt, proving that the spirit of Tombstone was indomitable, even in the face of nature's fury. The EARP Vendetta Ride, 1882. Following the OK Corral's gunfight, Virgil Earp was maimed in an ambush, and Morgan Earp was assassinated. Enraged and seeking retribution, Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and their allies embarked on what came to be known as the EARP Vendetta Ride. They hunted down those they believed responsible, resulting in several killings. This ride blurred the lines between justice and revenge, and further polarized opinions about the Earps. The tensions with the Apaches. Tombstone's growth was not just challenged by internal strife, but also by external threats. The surrounding territories were home to the Apache tribes. Encroachments on their land and the increasing influx of settlers led to skirmishes, raids, and heightened tensions. Stories of Apache raids became part and parcel of Tombstone's lore, adding another layer of danger to life in the town. Political undercurrents and corruption. As with any booming town, power struggles and political maneuvering were rife in Tombstone. The Earps, despite their roles as lawmen, often found themselves at odds with local authorities and business leaders. Allegations of corruption, bribery, and misuse of power were commonplace. These political undercurrents not only influenced the town's major events, but also deepened the divides among its residents. In the crucible of the Arizona desert, Tombstone was continually shaped and reshaped by these events and tensions. They brought fame, infamy, prosperity, and peril to its streets, cementing its place as one of the most iconic locales of the Wild West era. The dramatic history of Tombstone is further emphasized when you consider the trials and tribulations it faced from both natural and human-caused disasters. The unforgiving landscape of the Arizona desert, coupled with the town's rapid growth and sometimes reckless inhabitants, laid the groundwork for a series of calamities that would challenge the very survival of the town. Great fires of Tombstone, the wooden structures, closely packed streets, and the town's general lack of preparedness meant that fires were an ever-present danger. As mentioned earlier, in a span of just 1 year, 1881 to 1882, Tombstone suffered 2 devastating fires. The first in June 1881 started in a local saloon and spread rapidly, consuming over 60 businesses. The townspeople were barely recovering when another blaze in May 1882 wreaked havoc, wiping out a significant portion of Tombstone's commercial district. Yet the undying spirit of its residents shone through as they quickly rebuilt after each disaster. Flash floods, The monsoon rains in the desert can be treacherous. Tombstone, built in a valley, was susceptible to sudden and severe flash floods. Streets turned into rivers, and many structures, especially those hastily built, were swept away or severely damaged. These floods not only caused immediate destruction, but also contaminated drinking water sources, leading to health issues. The mining accidents. Tombstone's very reason for existence, its silver mines, were also a source of numerous tragedies. Mining in the 1880s was a perilous endeavor. Cave-ins, gas explosions, and flooding in the underground tunnels were not uncommon. Many miners lost their lives in the pursuit of silver, and others suffered long-term health issues due to the hazardous working conditions. Typhoid outbreak. In 1882, the town faced a severe typhoid fever outbreak, exacerbated by the lack of clean drinking water after the floods and the high population density. Scores fell ill, and many succumbed to the disease. This outbreak underscored the challenges of maintaining public health in a rapidly growing frontier town. Saloon shootouts and street duels. While not a disaster in the traditional sense, the frequency of violent confrontations added to the town's chaotic atmosphere. Disputes that started over poker games or personal disagreements often ended in gunfights, leaving bystanders injured or dead and property damaged. Economic downturns. Beyond the immediate physical dangers, Tombstone also had to navigate the economic pitfalls. The value of silver fluctuated, and by the late 1880s, as the quality of ore decreased and costs of extraction increased, many mines became unprofitable. This led to closures, job losses, and a significant exodus of residents seeking fortunes elsewhere. The rapid decline of Tombstone began in the late 1880s and early 1890s. When the richest veins of silver had been exhausted, extraction became more difficult, and combined with falling silver prices globally, many mining operations became unsustainable, leading to mine closures. As employment dwindled, a significant portion of the town's population sought opportunities elsewhere, leaving the once bustling streets of Tombstone desolate. By the early 20th century, the beacon of the Wild West was almost reduced to another ghost town. Buildings were abandoned, the saloons that once echoed with lively conversations fell silent, and only a few residents remained. However, as the 20th century progressed, there was a revival in interest surrounding the history of the Old West. Tombstone, with its storied past, became a magnet for history enthusiasts. Entrepreneurs saw the potential in this and began restoring the town's iconic structures. Museums were established, and events reenacting episodes like the gunfight at the OK Corral became popular attractions. Today, Tombstone thrives as a tourist hub, attracting visitors eager to experience a taste of the Old West. The streets that Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and other legendary figures once walked are now frequented by tourists from around the globe. Tombstone's transformation from a near ghost town back to a bustling center showcases its enduring spirit and highlights its historical significance in the tapestry of the American West. Tombstone, Arizona, the Old West's most infamous town, is a living canvas that showcases the dreams, struggles, and indomitable spirit of those who dared to venture into the rugged landscapes of the Wild West. From its birth in the midst of silver fever to its rise, decline, and eventual rebirth, Tombstone's story is one of tenacity and transformation. Today, as we walk its historic streets, we're not just witnessing a relic of the past, but a vibrant town that has reclaimed its legacy and invites all to partake in its rich history. So the next time you find yourself in the Arizona desert, take a detour to Tombstone and step into a world where legends come alive.